Trump supporters have largely been blamed for the violence against police officers and property, but video footage appears to show a different story. This video, taken by NTV's on-the-ground reporters, shows Trump supporters trying to stop the people smashing windows of the Capitol building and calling them Antifa. You can hear them saying, "Anyone who does this is not with us." It appears other protesters grab his leg and pull him down to stop him from breaking the window. Other videos show pro-Trump protesters booing those breaking in and calling them Antifa. This video appears to show them trying to stop the people smashing windows and shoving them towards the police. We do know that many genuine Trump supporters did make it inside the barricades of the Capitol building.
Why are you letting this happen? Why haven't you called for backup? Where is your backup? This is our damn Capitol building, and y'all are letting it get destroyed on your watch. Fuck all of you. Call for backup. Get some help down here. And if they don't want to get you fucking backup, they obviously don't give a shit about you. These people want blood.
Trumpies fighting Trumpies.
We need elections. We the people.
Them say they didn't use violence to get in, but were let in. In this video, police appear to open the barricades.
Oh my God!
Zach Voorhees, a former Google employee turned whistleblower, recorded a video of a Trump supporter who left the rally after things turned violent. He claims he overheard a plot to make Trump supporters look bad.
They were dressed as Trump supporters. Tell by their conversation that they were looking to do, and I heard them say, "We got to shake this up so that these people look bad." And I saw them break a window on the Capitol.
Wednesday night, Congressman Mo Brooks urged people to not rush judgment on who assaulted the Capitol building. Brooks said on Twitter that another congressman told him that intelligence suggested Antifa was going to try to infiltrate the rally by dressing like Trump supporters.
What I do is I just start to take my hat and I turn it around, and it's like a switch that goes on.
Please, Pittsburgh. Nothing to see here. Get back to world. I don't even like to say it. Don't be arrested. We need to go. I'll say it. We need to go in to the Capitol. I'm probably going to go to jail. We need to go into the Capitol. Into the Capitol.
Dates echo throughout history, including dates that instantly remind all who have lived through them where they were and what they were doing when our democracy came under assault. Dates that occupy not only a place on our calendars, but a place in our collective memory. December 7th, 1941, September 11th, 2001, and January 6th.
I have that pride, but I don't care that much about statues.
Shouldn't that be done by a commission or the city council, not a mob in the middle of the night throwing it into the harbor?
People will do what they do. I do think that from a safety standpoint, it would be a good idea to have it taken down if the community doesn't want it.
In the next election, which he did, into inciting an insurrection, which he did,
of the impeachment of Donald Trump. It will be a full trial. It will be a fair trial. But make no mistake, there will be a trial, and when that trial ends, senators will have to decide if they believe Donald John Trump incited the insurrection against the United States.
This wasn't a group of tourists. This was an armed insurrection.
Inviting Russia to help him in the election, which they did, for trying to coerce Ukraine into helping him in the next election, which he did, into inciting an insurrection, which he did.
Of the impeachment of Donald Trump. It will be a full trial. It will be a fair trial. But make no mistake, there will be a trial, and when that trial ends, senators will have to decide if they believe Donald John Trump incited the insurrection against the United States.
This wasn't a group of tourists. This was an armed insurrection.
The concern that there were agents of the government or assets of the government present on January 5th and January 6th during the protests. And I've got some pictures that I want to show you if my staff could bring those to you. I'm afraid I can't see that at all. Is that a video? All right, you have those images there, and they're captioned. They were from January 5th and January 6th. As far as we can determine, the individual who was saying he'll probably go to jail, he'll probably be arrested, but they need to go into the Capitol the next day, is then the next day directing people to the Capitol. And as far as we can find, this individual has not been charged with anything. You said this is one of the most sweeping investigations in history. Have you seen that video or those frames from that video?
So as I said at the outset, one of the norms of the Justice Department is to not comment on impending investigations, and particularly not to comment about particular scenes or particular individuals.
I was hoping today to give you an opportunity to put to rest the concerns that people have that there were federal agents or assets of the federal government present on January 5th and January 6th. Can you tell us, without talking about particular incidents or particular videos, how many agents or assets of the federal government were present on January 6th, whether they agitated to go into the Capitol, and if any of them did?
So I'm not going to violate this norm of the rule of law. I'm not going to comment on an investigation that's ongoing.
Yeah, whose side are you on? Constitution or the government? Because they're not the same thing. I'm not picking on it, but you know what? Noted. All right, noted. But one more thing. Yeah, so if we go out there? No? When we go in? Are we going to get arrested if we go out there? Yeah. You don't need to get shot. Arrest us all? There's a few of us, like a dozen or so. Okay, but one more thing. Yeah, so if we go out there? No? When we go in? Are we going to get arrested if we go out there? Yeah. You don't need to get shot. Arrest us all? Yeah, whose side are you on? So can we come up? Go to the house. Yeah, whose side are you on? Constitution or the government? Because they're not the same thing. I'm not picking on them, but you know what? Noted. All right, noted. Okay, but one more thing. Yeah, so can we go up there? No? When we go in, are we going to get arrested if we go up there? Yeah. You don't need to get shot. Can you arrest us all? There's a few of us, like a dozen or so. Okay, but one more thing. Yeah, so can we go up there? No? When we go in, are we going to get arrested if we go up there? Yeah. You don't need to get shot. Can you arrest us all? All right, noted. Okay, but one more thing. Yeah, so can we go up there? No? When we go in, are we going to get arrested if we go up there? Yeah. You don't need to get shot. Can you arrest us all?
Has any defendant involved in the January 6 events been charged with insurrection?
I don't believe so.
Well, that is the word most used by Democrats here on Capitol Hill about January 6th, but no one has been charged with it that we could find either. How many protesters on January 6th were charged with obstructing an official proceeding for 4 to 6 hours? Do you know?
I don't know the exact number. Obviously, there were 650 who were arrested, some for assaulting officers, some for obstructing proceedings, some for conspiring to obstruct proceedings. I can get you the numbers for each of the specific.
Thank you. I'd be interested in getting that number. But regarding the men who broke the glass in the 2 doors there at the Speaker's lobby when the 2 Capitol Police have been standing there moved to the side to allow them access, were any of those people who broke glass and did damage to those doors working for the FBI or other federal law enforcement entities?
This is an ongoing criminal investigation, and I'm really not at liberty to discuss. There have been some filings in a nature of discovery, which has been provided to the defendants, but other than that, I can't discuss this now.
Well, we've seen some of those filings that talk about persons 1 through 20-something. Were those persons 1 designated by number, were those people that were employed by the FBI or federal entities, or were they confidential informants?
Again, I don't know those specifics, but I do not believe that any of the people you're mentioning charged in the indictment were either one.
Was a determination ever made as to who repeatedly struck Roseanne Boylan in the head with a rod before she died?
Again, I think this was a matter that was investigated by the U.S. Attorney's Office. And
well, there's a witness on video saying that it was a D.C. Metro policeman. I didn't know if you've been able to confirm or deny that. Well, on June 22nd of 2016, Judge, most of the Democrat members of Congress took over the House floor, and for the first time in American history, members of Congress obstructed official proceedings, not for 4 to 6 hours, but for virtually 26 hours. Not just violating over a dozen House rules, but actually committing the felony that some of the January 6 people are charged with. That was during the Obama administration. Nobody has been charged. And those kind of things where you let Democrat members of Congress off for the very thing that you're viciously going after people that were protesting on January 6 gives people the indication that there is a two-tiered justice system here in America. You know well, you've been a circuit court judge, you know well that confinement, pretrial confinement, is not ever to be used as punishment. Yet there are people, and understand, as a former tough law and order judge, I would sentence everyone, regardless of their party, who did violence or committed crimes on January 6th to appropriate sentences. But for heaven's sake, they are being abused in the D.C. jail. Have you done an inspection over there of the D.C. jail since your department has some jurisdiction?
So my understanding is Judge Lamberth, who I respect very much, has...
Yeah, he held the warden in contempt, but we haven't seen any improvement.
How many people have been charged with crimes of violence in connection with the events on January 6th?
Senator, I'm not sure exactly how many have been charged with crimes of violence. I know that there are many.
How many have been charged with nonviolent crimes?
I don't have the numbers of people charged, whether at the state or federal level. I know that there
How many people are currently incarcerated concerning the events of January 6th?
I don't know the number of people incarcerated. Again, I know that
How many? Okay, let me ask you that. Look, we have limited time, so I don't want you to filibuster. You either know the answer or you don't. How many people have been placed in solitary confinement concerning the events of January 6th?
I don't have any information about that, Senator.
You know, Mr. Olson, I will say it was sad. Senator Lee just asked you about this. Back in June of 2021, Senator Lee and I and 2 other senators sent a letter to the Department of Justice asking these questions, asking about the differential prosecutions. Let me ask you, during 2020, Black Lives Matter and Antifa riots all across the country, there were over 700 police officers injured by Black Lives Matter and Antifa riots. How many people have been charged with crimes of violence concerning those riots all across the country?
I don't have information on how many. I would say, hundreds of people have been charged, as Ms. Sanborn.
You would say, but you don't know. You know, when we asked you why the Biden Department of Justice has such wildly disparate standards, going after January 6th, targeting some people who committed crimes of violence, and anyone who commits crimes of violence should be prosecuted, but also targeting a lot of nonviolent individuals. We asked you, why is it that you won't target the rioters and terrorists who firebomb cities across this country? The answer we got from the Department of Justice was shameful. On October 22nd, you came back and said, quote, "The department has dedicated investigative and prosecutorial resources commensurate with the significance of these events." By significance, I guess it means the political benefit to the Biden White House. And I will tell you, there are a great many Americans who are understandably deeply concerned about the politicization of the Department of Justice under President Joe Biden. It has been 218 days since we sent you that letter. DOJ refused to answer the letter today when Senator Lee and I asked you about it. Your answer to every damn question is, I don't know, I don't know, I don't know. You're under oath. You may believe at the Department of Justice that you are unaccountable to the American people, but that is not the case. And the wildly disparate standards are unacceptable. Ms. Sandberg, I want to turn to the FBI. How many FBI agents or confidential informants actively participated in the events of January 6th?
Sir, I'm sure you can appreciate that I can't go into the specifics of sources and methods.
Mr. Olson, on January 6, 2021, did the Department of Justice or FBI have any plainclothes officers among the crowd at the Capitol?
I'm not aware of whether or not there were plainclothes officers among the crowd at the Capitol on January 6th.
Did any plainclothes officers enter the Capitol on January 6th?
I don't know the answer to that, Senator.
Mr. Olson, I got to say your answers to many questions today are disappointing because they boil down to essentially, I don't know. Did you prepare for this hearing? Did you know this hearing was happening before this morning?
The direct answer, yes, I prepared extensively, Senator. Many of the questions are about specific specific facts that I don't have.
Well, I mean, let me. What was
I do think that's one of the most important points that I would emphasize is, it's against a general matter. It's not appropriate to comment on ongoing investigations.
Well, I didn't ask you about an ongoing investigation. I just went to the cover of my binder here. It says the title of this hearing is the domestic terrorism threat 1 year after January 6th. The Attorney General has repeatedly said this is one of the department's highest priority. You're testifying at a hearing about the domestic terrorism threat 1 year after January 6th. And you can't answer questions about how many people have been charged for events arising on January 6th. Would you go into a briefing with the Attorney General, your boss, and not be able to answer such basic questions? Mr. Olson, who is Ray Epps, and why was he removed from the FBI's most wanted list?
Senator, I don't have any information about that individual. I would defer to Ms. Sanborn for any additional.
So this is, it gets back to what I meant earlier, like asking if you prepared for this hearing. You're the Assistant Attorney General for National Security. You run the National Security Division. The department has said that these January 6 prosecutions are one of their highest priorities. This is a man who was on the most wanted page for 6 months. Do you really expect us to believe that you've never heard of the name Ray Epps? You don't know anything about him?
I simply don't have any information at all, Senator, about that individual.
What other suspects on the most wanted page do you know nothing about?
Senator,
let me ask you this: Can you name anyone else? Can you name anyone else on the Department of Justice's most wanted page?
I'm sorry. I didn't hear your question.
Can you name anyone else on the Department of Justice's most wanted page from the January 6th riots?
I'm not familiar with the most wanted page. No, I'm not familiar with that.
All right. Well, I guess we're going to have to seek our answers elsewhere. But.
I recognize you from Portland. Hey, so you got Antifa? Absolutely great. Oh, damn! Right now. I'm seeing people from Portland here. Antifa. Was that the cop that pushed him? Yeah. Constitution! My bitches! No, we're right! Let's burn this shit down.
Are you BLM? Are you Black Lives Matter? John, can you just answer, are you Black Lives Matter with Black Lives Matter, or are you with the right-wing people?
On the phone, can you not?
Yeah, but are you Black Lives Matter? So he just said on the phone that he is not being charged with anything. Did you say you weren't being charged with anything? I thought I heard you say that. Are you Black Lives Matter, John? Are you Black Lives Matter?
No, this is